Alright, the project we're working on today is fixing this tractor. So I was running it a while ago and it started making a really bad clanging noise, and then I checked and it was out of hydraulic fluid, so it must have just been leaking, and I didn't check it because, you know, whatever. And then eventually the hydraulics stopped working. So you can see here, there's a pump that comes off the engine. Hopefully that's it. I was able to find the parts, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Well, this is the new battery I just put in. Nothing. No voltage. And the older one that I took out had 2 volts. So I gotta find another battery. Tried the Suburban. That battery had no voltage. This Titan had no battery in it. This Titan has a battery. Let's see. "12 volts. I thought my meter was broken. It's just every battery I have is dead. So the good battery didn't fit inside there. So I had to grab the first battery that was in it that had 2 volts, and I just ran jumper cables to that battery. Hopefully that'll work. Alright, the jump box is taking too long. I filled up the low tires while I had the generator out here, but yeah, this box, it works good for slow charging. It's not going to jump it like the truck does. I just have the amperage here. So. Alright, it's cranking slow, but it wouldn't even crank before, so that's a good sign. Alright, well, I couldn't get it going. And this tractor normally starts really easily, like obviously when I have a decent battery in there. So what I kept hearing when I would, like on this, there's a compression release so the engine can spin faster, and then you push that in and that gives the compression back to the engine. Every time I would do that, it normally starts right away, but I would hear the really bad clanking here in the hydraulic pump area. So maybe that's so like smashed up that when I'm trying to start it, it's just an extra load on the engine, that messed up hydraulic pump, that it's just not letting it spin to start. Because like I said, this normally starts easily once I have a decent battery in there. So all that, I couldn't even get it running. But I'll get a pan to put underneath, and let's start taking this apart and see what we're looking at. It might look like there's a good amount of room, but there really isn't. But the impact in there, so I guess it's not terrible. Oh, there it is. So that's what it looks like inside there. Looks like there's the gear in there. Hope I didn't mess up those teeth. Oh, it's like pilot dowels or whatever you call them. Alright, cool. Alright, here it is. And you can see that's probably the noise I was hearing. For new parts, I got one of these, which looks the same, but this one doesn't have that side-to-side motion. So, looks like I got the wrong one. Alright, let's see. On the top, that piece is the same. There's no bolt hole right here, but there's one right here. That's interesting. And then this cover is here. I gotta move that over. And I also got this pump, because I didn't want to pull it apart and have the wrong one. So this might still be good. These parts came from Ukraine, so I didn't want to wait another couple weeks to get more parts if I didn't have the right one. So this looks like it is like this. So I think I'm gonna use just the new ones if I can, if everything's the same, and I might save this if this feels good, just in case. It doesn't take up a lot of space. this isn't just popping off. Granted, it's been on here since the 70s, so I get it, but alrighty. Ooh, that is rusty. What in the... It's gross in there. Interesting. Alrighty. I don't think my new one has that. See that it has like that little cross section there, and this one doesn't, but there's a couple holes, so maybe that comes out. There might be like a little Allen head in there or something. Let's figure that out. Alright, one thing I noticed is there's like a fill hole and like a drain plug on this, so this probably had some sort of gear oil in it, and or it's supposed to have gear oil in it, and that might be why. Oh, look at that. If you pull this up, you can move that back and forth, which moves that. That's fancy. But look how nasty it is in there. I definitely didn't put any oil in that. And I doubt the person who owned it before me did, because I pulled it. It was like deep in some brush. The guy had it parked for years. So, but the new pump I got doesn't have that drain plug on the top, but it does have a hole over here, where this one doesn't have a hole over here. So maybe I'm supposed to fill it from here, but I don't have a bolt there, so I need to find a bolt for that. And I mean, everything looks almost the same. The new pump, this pump, has 6 splines on the shaft, and the old one has 4. So I'll have to figure that out too. But we're getting there. Okay, so I got the other one apart. I couldn't find my snap ring pliers, so I went to AutoZone and bought one. But on the old pump, what I did was I took this snap ring off, and then that looks like this in here. So you have 4 ball bearings, which I have in here. That, I don't know if you can tell in there, but there's little holes where those ball bearings sit in. And then the collar for the hydraulic pump has these little notches in it, so the ball bearings go in there. So to enable to put those in, I think I need to take the snap ring off of that, push this out a bit, push them in from the back side, and then push the whole collar back in inside of this ring, which will keep the bearings in, I think. If not, I'm just going to break my new pump. But it makes sense in my head, so that's what I'm going with. Okay, well, I just bent the new snap ring trying to get it out because there was too much tension the other way. I didn't take any of that tension off, so I ended up bending the snap ring. So I have the snap ring that I took off of the old pump, and that one's not bent, so I can use that one. Nice. So now that that's out, I can push that shaft out. I'm gonna tap it out with a punch. I'm just gonna put a punch right in that hole there. So this is the punch I've been using. It's kind of a flat Pittsburgh, obviously. It's moving. Almost there. All right. Now you can't see because of the light. But in here, those holes are now, I think they're out far enough, maybe a little bit more, where I can drop the ball bearings in from the outside with this collar in here, and then push this back in, and this outside ring will hold those ball bearings in. Let's see, let me push that out just a little bit more. And I'm going to put grease in there too, because it's metal on metal, so I want it to be greased. Just snapped a leg off my little tripod, so yay. Okay, what an adventure. What I ended up punching this collar back through, I knocked this bearing out completely. So when I tried pushing this bearing back in, I knocked this collar out completely. So what I did was I took the back plate for this and I put it on backwards so it was facing the bearing like this, and I punched it through so it held the bearing in place until this shaft bottomed out against the case here. Then I just kind of tapped it, started pushing the bearing through, I pushed the bearing back in, and I just kind of worked it back and forth. But now, looks like we're good. Let me get the snap ring back on, and we should be good, put it back together. Now, I don't have the right shaft for this pump, and this pump was working, I think. So I might just use that pump, and maybe if I can change the shafts out, if I ever have a problem with that, maybe I'll try to take that shaft out and put it in the new pump. But parts come from Ukraine and they take 2, 3, 4 weeks to get here. So, I mean, they're cheap, but with shipping, it makes it not cheap. So for now, I'm just going to use that pump, and if I ever have an issue, then I'll see if I can cannibalize this shaft for this pump. Alright, so I got it the rest of the way together. Bolted the pump back on. The side covers, I don't know what you call them. I was missing that bolt when I started. I just used, where is it, Right Stuff, the Permatex, for this because it didn't come with gaskets. I don't want it to leak, and I couldn't find the right thread for this fill up here. It ended up being like an M10 by 1.0, like a super fine. So I just went to the hardware store, got one of those, and yeah, there we go. Should actually put some gear oil or something in here, because it was bone dry when I opened it up. And that's no good. But alright, let's get this in. And now that my tripod's broken, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt trying to record me putting that in. I'm just going to reuse the old gasket that came off. Where is it? I lost it. It's gone forever. Oh, it's right here. This gasket right there. I sprayed it with brake clean in there, trying to get it as clean as I can. But you know, it's like a 50-ish year old tractor, so it's kind of dirty in there. But whatever, it's better than it was. I'll bolt the assembly back on, and then hook up the hoses, fill the hydraulic fluid, which is that one right there, and then try starting it again. So we'll see. Be right back. Okay, problem I'm having is these alignment pins, dowels, whatever you want to call them, don't line up with my new pump assembly, so it won't go past here. And I looked at the old pump and the holes are like in a different spot. I don't know if it's like a manufacturing defect, if that assembly is for a different unit, whatever. So I'm just gonna grind these flat, I think. I don't really know what else to do here, so we'll see. Alright, ground those two flat. I stuffed a rag in there while I did it so I didn't get any more metal in the system that there already is. So yeah, gasket, pump assembly, hoses. Let's get after it. Getting there. Okay. Yeah, I thought the pump died because I ran out of hydraulic fluid, but it looks like it's supposed to have gear oil in the pump, which I filled this time around. But I didn't even know it was supposed to. I've never even looked at this pump before, and it was dry and crusty, so that's probably what caused it. Alright, we got fluid in, hoses on, pump in. Alright, let's get it running, test it out. I think I was smart enough to charge the battery while I was working on the pump. No, I was not. Alright, I bring the truck back around. Well, it's right here, just pull it forward. Smoking. Go straight back up into the road. Okay. So I had a Harbor Freight carport here next to my garage. There's the tarp and there's all the metal. So I have this material just dropped off. It's just like 3/4 screen, just like a gravelly mix. And I'm gonna lay this down here because this is a little bit lower and collects water. So I'm gonna build this area up just a little bit, and I'll be able to put a shipping container here. And that's the goal, that's the project at hand. And then once the shipping container's in, I can clean out the garage and fix this. Cause I mean, look at it. Just trying to organize out here a little bit, get everything cleaned up. So yeah, those anchors were in the ground, man. I wasn't expecting. I tried yanking them out. Oh, that's not it. I couldn't get it, but dang, man, those things were in there. But all right, let's get to work. So obviously this isn't the best machine for the job. It's only a 25 horsepower tractor, but still beats doing this with a shovel. But yeah, it's coming out alright. This would probably be easier with a skid steer, but you know, I don't have one. If you want me to buy one, comment and tell my wife that I should buy a skid steer. It's the only way I'm going to get one. She okays it. Alright, I got the dent scrape all spread out. Good enough. And there's a little bit left. I'll just use that to spread right here where I parked the truck. So, cool beans.